In the previous video, we have discussed about male reproductive system and female reproductive system. Now here we will discuss about the pre-fertilization event, that is gametogenesis. Gametogenesis in case of males is called spermatogenesis because here sperm formation occurs. In case of females, gametogenesis is called oogenesis because here ovum formation occurs. Spermatogenesis occurs inside the seminiferous tubules of the testes and oogenesis occurs inside the ovary. In the seminiferous tubules of the testes, there are special type of male germ cells which are also called spermatogonia. They are diploid with 46 chromosomes. These spermatogonia, they will undergo meiosis. And as you know, meiosis is a reductional division, so the chromosome number will be reduced to half. So spermatogonia undergo meiosis to form haploid sperms or spermatozoa with 23 chromosomes. In case of oogenesis, oogonia or female germ cells are present in the lining of the ovary, and these oogonia are diploid with 46 chromosomes. These oogonia, they will also undergo meiosis, which is a reductional division, and result in the formation of haploid ovum, that is chromosome number 23. Now we will take up these events, spermatogenesis and oogenesis, in detail one by one. Spermatogenesis in case of males starts at puberty, when the reproductive maturity has been attained. Now, the spermatogonia which are present inside the seminiferous tubules of the testes, they will undergo mitosis and they will increase in number. Some of the spermatogonia, now called primary spermatocytes, they will undergo meiosis 1. Primary spermatocytes are formed from spermatogonia after mitosis, so the ploidy of the primary spermatocytes is diploid with 46 chromosomes. Now these primary spermatocytes, they will undergo meiosis 1, which is reductional division, and form haploid secondary spermatocytes with chromosome number 23. Now these secondary spermatocytes, they will undergo meiosis 2 to form haploid spermatids with chromosome number 23. You know, meiosis 2 is equational division. So in secondary spermatocytes, there were 23 chromosomes. So in spermatids also, there are 23 chromosomes. Now these spermatids, they will undergo some structural and morphological changes, and these changes are termed as spermiogenesis. So spermatids, they undergo differentiation or spermiogenesis and transform themselves into tailed structures, and these tailed structures are called spermatozoa or sperms. These are haploid with 23 number of chromosomes. Now if we look at the transverse section of the testis, we find seminiferous tubules in circular outline, and these seminiferous tubules have pyramidal shaped cells. These pyramidal shaped cells are called Sertoli cells or nurse cells. Then in the germinal epithelium of seminiferous tubules is the male germ cells present, which are called spermatogonia, and these spermatogonia, they will form primary spermatocytes, secondary spermatocytes, and then spermatids and spermatozoa. And these spermatozoa, they are present in the inner core of the seminiferous tubules. The heads of these spermatozoa are embedded in the Sertoli cells to derive nourishment from them. Sertoli cells are also called nurse cells because they provide nourishment to the developing spermatozoa. In between these seminiferous tubules, there is present interstitial space. And in this interstitial space are present small blood vessels and special type of cells. These special type of cells are called Leydig cells or interstitial cells. These Leydig cells, they will form male sex hormone called testosterone which assist in sperm formation and which is also responsible for the male secondary sexual characters. Now, if we look at the enlarged sectional view of seminiferous tubule, we will find all the stages of the spermatogenesis in the seminiferous tubule. You can see here, this is spermatogonium, outermost layer of spermatogonium, male germ cells diploid in number, and these spermatogonia, they form primary spermatocytes which are just next to them. Primary spermatocytes, they undergo meiosis 1 to form secondary spermatocytes. Secondary spermatocytes undergo meiosis 2 to form spermatids, and spermatids differentiate into spermatozoa. So in the seminiferous tubules, you can find all the stages of the spermatogenesis. And here you can see these pyramidal cells. These pyramidal cells are called Sertoli cells or nurse cells that provide nourishment to the developing sperms. Now, if we look at the detailed structure of the sperm, we see that sperm is a tailed structure and its body can be divided into 4 parts: head, neck, middle piece and tail. Tail is for swimming purpose, so that sperms can swim into the female reproductive tract and reach the fallopian tube. Now, head is having a haploid nucleus and it is having a cap-like structure at its tip, and that cap-like structure is called acrosome. This acrosome has some hydrolytic enzymes which help in dissolving the membranes of the ovum and help in the entry of the sperms in the ovum for fertilization purposes. Then in the middle piece, you can see these are spirally arranged mitochondria. Now, sperms need energy for swimming, and that energy is provided by the mitochondria which are present in the middle piece. Now, the events which occur in the female reproductive system. Let's see the female reproductive events in various phases of life. As we have discussed, spermatogenesis starts at puberty, but this is not so in case of oogenesis. Oogenesis starts in the female before birth itself, means when the girl child is still in the womb of the mother. At that time only oogenesis starts. So, oogenesis starts before the girl child birth. Now, let's see what are the events and in which phases of life these events occur. So, before birth, in the fetal ovary, there are formed about 2 million oogonia in each ovary. And these oogonia will undergo mitosis and they will differentiate into primary oocytes. Now, after the birth, the girl child is having primary oocytes in its ovary. No more oogonia are added after childbirth. So, after birth, it is the primary oocyte present in the female ovary. Now, these primary oocytes, they will undergo meiosis 1. In fact, they enter meiosis 1, but they do not complete meiosis 1. They enter the prophase 1 of meiosis and their cell division gets arrested at this stage. So, they are still called primary oocytes. So, after birth, there are primary oocytes, but they are in prophase 1 of meiosis. When the puberty is attained, these primary oocytes, just before ovulation, just before the release of the ovum, these primary oocytes will complete their meiosis 1. Now, they were in prophase 1, they will complete the rest of the stages just prior to ovulation in puberty. So, when the meiosis 1 is completed, then 2 unequal daughter cells are formed. One of them is smaller, which is called first polar body, and the bigger one is called secondary oocyte. Now this unequal division occurs so that secondary oocyte retains bulk of the cytoplasm, which contains reserve food material. So secondary oocyte can use that reserve food material during fertilization and zygote formation. Now this secondary oocyte is released from the ovary, and release of secondary oocyte from the ovary is called ovulation. Till now, you have studied that it is the ovum which is released from the ovary, but it is not that. It is actually the secondary oocyte which is released from the ovary during ovulation. You can see the events which are occurring in the female ovary before birth till maturity. All these events are in its ovary. Then once the secondary oocyte is released from the ovary, this secondary oocyte reaches the fallopian tube. So now this secondary oocyte in the fallopian tube or in the oviduct, when it happens to be in contact with the sperm, then secondary oocyte undergoes its meiosis too. If it does not find the sperm, fertilization will not occur and this secondary oocyte will degenerate. It will not undergo meiosis II. It will only undergo meiosis II when the sperm comes in contact with it. So let us assume that the sperm has fused with the ovum. Now this ovum will complete its meiosis II. So in meiosis II, again two unequal daughter cells are formed, second polar body and ovum. The role of polar body is not known, they will either degenerate. So what is formed in oogenesis is a single ovum. And we have discussed in spermatogenesis that from a single primary spermatocyte, 4 spermatozoa are formed. But in oogenesis, from a single primary oocyte, only one ovum is formed. Now, a flowchart of oogenesis. These are the various phases of life of a girl. And here are the stages of oogenesis shown. Oogonium undergoes mitosis differentiation to form primary oocyte. This is, we have already discussed. Primary oocyte will complete its meiosis I and it forms secondary oocyte. Secondary oocyte will undergo meiosis II to form ovum. Now there is one more thing that happens during oogenesis. It is the formation of cellular layers around the oocytes. These layers are of granulosa cells. Now let's see how these layers are being formed. So, human follicle development. Here is the follicular status given and here is the stages mentioned. Now oogonium, this is the oogonium. It is without the granulosa cells. So no follicle formation here. When oogonium gets differentiated into primary oocyte, then few cells surround this primary oocyte. Now this will be called primordial follicle. Now these cells which have surrounded the primary oocyte, they will divide and redivide and cover the primary oocyte from all sides. This structure is called primary follicle. What is primary follicle? Primary follicle is having primary oocyte in the center and is surrounded by a single layer of granulosa cells. When this primary oocyte gets surrounded by more layers of granulosa cells, then it will be called secondary follicle. You can see the difference between primary follicle and secondary follicle. Primary follicle is having primary oocyte with a single layer of granulosa cells. Secondary follicle is having primary oocyte with more layers of granulosa cells. Similarity between the two follicles is that both of these have primary oocytes. Later, a fluid-filled cavity appears between the oocyte and the granulosa cells. That fluid-filled cavity is called antrum. Now this follicle will be called tertiary follicle. Simultaneously, the primary oocyte has undergone meiosis 1 to form secondary oocyte. So it is the secondary oocyte which is surrounded by many granulosa cells. Apart from that, it is having a fluid-filled cavity called antrum. You can see the differences between secondary follicle and tertiary follicle. In secondary follicle, in the center is primary oocyte. In tertiary follicle, on one side is the secondary oocyte. In secondary follicle, there are more layers of granulosa cells present, but fluid-filled cavity called antrum absent. But in tertiary follicle, there is a fluid-filled cavity called antrum. Now this tertiary follicle matures itself into Graafian follicle. Graafian follicle is that follicle which is ready to release its secondary oocyte, means it is ready to ovulate. If we look at the transverse section of the ovary, we will find all the stages of follicular development inside this transverse section of ovary along with the different stages of the oocyte. You can see in the transverse section of ovary primary follicle, secondary follicle, tertiary follicle, and this is a fully mature Graafian follicle which is now ready to release its secondary oocyte. You can see here the Graafian follicle has released the secondary oocyte. Till now we knew that it is the ovum which is released from the ovary. Actually, it is not the ovum, it is the secondary oocyte which is released from the ovary. This ovum is received by the infundibulum of the fallopian tube. This is degenerating Graafian follicle, and degenerating Graafian follicle is called corpus luteum. Corpus luteum has a role to play during pregnancy. This we will discuss later on.